Wow, this is wild. 45 FPS, 46, 47 FPS at high settings on Doom. I mean, you could put this on a TV and it wouldn't even look bad. Yeah, I'm sorry, I'm a little bit, I'm a little bit perplexed by this result. I wasn't expecting this to be possible.
Welcome back to the channel, everyone. I hope you are all doing well. It's been a little while. I haven't been able to make much content lately, but I'm back, going to be making more content and hopefully more entertaining videos. I'm excited about this one. This is something I've been wanting to do for quite a while now, and I finally had the opportunity because I saw this was just so cheap. So what this is a PC that I found at a local store called Cash Converters. So what this store does is they buy things and they go onto a computer in the store, they evaluate what these things are worth secondhand, and then they offer you like a quarter of that. So they really undercut the value of things and then they sell them. But I think they made a mistake with this one, because the value of this is much more than what they sold it for. So I actually paid only $120 for this computer. Now, what this computer is as you can see, it's quite a basic chassis. Let me turn it around so you can see. When I saw this in the store, I knew immediately I had to take a look at it. I was trying to be a little bit inconspicuous, but I knew no one else would know what's in this because they wouldn't recognize the chassis. But what this is a chassis from a local store we have called Eve Tech. And I knew this instantly because this is the entry-level chassis that they sell. It's just a basic chassis. It has, you know, space for fans here and there, no perforation at the front. It has a fan there and it has a fan at the back. It doesn't come with the fans, you need to order that extra, but it has space for them. So I knew immediately what it was, and I knew I had to take a look inside. And so I did that. We have something called load shedding in South Africa, so there was no power in the store at the time, but as soon as I saw that fan, I knew this was a Ryzen system and I knew I had to buy it. Let me put this down. So I saw this HyperX RAM, Ryzen CPU, no GPU, Wi-Fi card, and if I turn it more you'll see a 512 gig SSD. For $120, that's a lot of value. It doesn't matter which Ryzen this is, and at the time I didn't know which Ryzen it was. So I didn't buy it straight away because I couldn't check what it was because there was no power in the store. I remember going back the next Monday and I took it just because of the value. So what this is a Ryzen 3400G, which is a quad-core Ryzen. It's a little bit older, 3rd gen, Zen 2, but it does have fantastic value at this price point. And I've never owned an iGPU, so in this video I'm going to be testing out this PC with only the iGPU, the APU, which is the, I believe it's the Vega 11 graphics if I recall correctly, but besides the point is it has Vega graphics. It even has slot for an NVMe there. This is an ASUS Prime B450M motherboard, and there's a lot of value here, especially for reselling, which is what I plan to do with this long term. So I bought it back, and I am now going to be testing some video games with this. Now, unfortunately, this only came with 8 gigs of DDR4 3200 megahertz RAM, but it's single channel. And I knew that wasn't going to work for iGPU gaming, so I have this, another HyperX stick. This one is RGB, so it's a little bit different, but it's the same speed, same timings, I believe, and it's just going to be so much better to have 16 gigs in there, so that the iGPU can allocate memory to the VRAM, so that the graphics card will have memory to spend in games. And so at 720p, which is what we'll be testing at, we might get some really good results on this system. And I think the point of this video is, if you only have $120 and whatever this costs, maybe another $30 at most, so let's say $150, can you buy a PC that you can game on competitively and even AAA gaming? So let's see how this does. Let's see if it's possible. Really cheap gaming, don't need a console. Let's see how it does. Stay with me.
Alright, so we got that RAM in there, and we are starting the benchmarks. I decided to start with Crash Bandicoot here just because it's an easy start. It's probably the kind of thing that you're going to want to be playing on a computer like this. A computer that now has the 16 gigs of RAM and so has a lot more VRAM available to the iGPU there. And so, yeah, right off the bat, you can see this is a good result. So we are only running at 720p, but we are running this at medium, and right now we are getting 46 FPS, which is more than playable. So with a system like this, you probably are looking at something like 30 FPS is kind of like the target you're after for gameplay. A little bit of stutter there. The time, what do you call it? The milliseconds. I forget what you call that, but it's a little bit unstable there. A little bit all over the place. But I mean, this feels pretty smooth. It's around 40 FPS. And again, this is at HD ready, medium settings. So this is kind of similar to a PS4 in terms of performance and visuals. I think a PS4 probably runs at HD though, I don't actually know. But yeah, I feel like this looks quite nice. It doesn't look bad. And 46 FPS is definitely a playable result. Looking at the CPU there, we have 52 degrees. We are using 2 gigs of RAM. 5 gigs of RAM, 2 gigs of VRAM. So a total of 7 gigs there from the available 16 that we have. Utilizing 100% of the GPU. And the CPU is only pulling 25 watts. And that means for the GPU and the CPU, which is amazing. This is a very low powered system right now. In total, it's probably pulling around only like 100 watts. So that's really good. And so looking at this, definitely playable, getting close to 50 FPS. Really good result. Let's move on to the next one. It's going to be a little bit more difficult. Let's do it. Alright, getting into Doom Eternal here, and wow, would you look at that FPS. So this is only running at 720p again, but this is the outside scene, you know, this is like more difficult to run than the inside, and we are at 50 FPS. This is amazing. It is at low, but I mean, when you get a game at 720p, it doesn't really matter what it looks like. You can still see it's Doom. At least right now we have no resolution scaling. So yeah, I must be honest, if you told me that you could run Doom Eternal at 720p, no resolution scaling on an iGPU, I probably wouldn't believe you, but here I am doing it. It's at 60 FPS right now. I'm a little bit taken aback. I was expecting like 30 FPS at the most, so yeah, I thought it might not be playable, but this is doing better than what Crash Bandicoot did, so I'm very perplexed at this result. This is amazing. And somehow it doesn't even look bad. I mean, it still looks... Look at this. It's a gorgeous game. I mean, it still has the color profile. It still has the details on the weapons, on the meshes, on the world. And I'm just very impressed. I wasn't expecting this. I wasn't expecting 60 FPS. I mean, you're not going to want to play this on a big TV or anything like that, but, you know, if you are comfortable to play at 40 FPS, you could maybe put this on medium. In fact, let's try. Let's see what it looks like at medium. So I'm just going to do overall quality medium. Let's try high. Let's push it. Everything at high. Okay, so it is actually scaling the resolution dynamically, but it still just does look like 720p. Is this? Wow, this is wild. 45 FPS, 46, 47 FPS at high settings on Doom. I mean, you could put this on a TV and it wouldn't even look bad. Yeah, I'm sorry, I'm a little bit I'm a little bit perplexed by this result. I wasn't expecting this to be possible. So yeah, this is wild. I mean, 50 FPS gaming on no GPU. I didn't even know this was possible, really, to be honest. So yeah, I'm more than impressed. It's really smooth as well. Look at that frame time. Oh, that's the word I was looking for. Frame time. Really good. It's at 60 FPS now. This is incredible. If you are able to add another 8 gig stick to a computer like this, you can definitely play Doom. I'm very impressed. Let's try another game. All right, getting into Hitman. Now this is a game that I don't think is going to do too well, just because of how the game was made and the sort of scenes. Although, again, it seems to be getting like 60 FPS, and this definitely doesn't have any sort of resolution scaling. So this is native 720p, 75 FPS. I mean, I'm running it at low, but I just wasn't expecting this. Using around 8 gigs of RAM, which is quite a lot, and a gig and a half of VRAM. Almost 60 FPS, 60 degrees on the GPU now, which is pretty cold as well. The GPU isn't even working. Okay, now it's at 100, but it's sort of like all over the place. The frame time is a little bit more jumpy on this result, so yeah, but still it's above 50 FPS all of the time. I wasn't expecting these results. Like, I knew you could game on iGPUs, but I didn't know it was going to be like this. Like, I know it wouldn't handle HD well, and I get that, but I just feel like you couldn't expect HD gaming for $100. It's only pulling 30 watts as well, so it's going to cost you like a couple cents a month to run this. Yeah, you can play Hitman. I'm just so impressed by this. It's incredible to me what CPUs can do, and this isn't even a new CPU. This came out like 4 years ago, I think. So yeah, I just wasn't expecting these sort of results, to be honest. Using around 7 gigs of RAM, 60 degrees on that CPU now. Just using the stock passive cooling from AMD, really good result. Let's try another test. I'm pretty into this now. All right, getting into Shadow of the Tomb Raider here, and now this is the test that I think is going to go the worst. This is running at 720p, AMD fidelity enabled, resolution scaling enabled, lowest settings. But yeah, it's pretty smooth so far. It's at like 48 to 50 FPS for the most part, and yeah, it still manages to not look bad, which I find really interesting. I thought that it would look really like blurry and just not detailed, but it does look pretty good. I think these nature scenes are going to struggle a little bit, but not really. 50 FPS. Anything above like 30, 35 FPS is more than playable on a system like this, and yeah, this is what I was expecting in terms of like these kinds of scenes, like 30 FPS, but so far it really hasn't dipped into the unplayable territory. I mean, this is a AAA game. This isn't something that you're gonna like just play with friends like Fortnite or Counter-Strike or Call of Duty or anything like that. So yeah, it's definitely a playable result, and it's just very interesting to me because I've just never dabbled in these kinds of tests. You know, no dedicated GPU, and if you add the RAM to the system like I have, you're looking at maybe another like on like second hand, like another like $30 at the most. So the system as is at the most $150, and if you don't mind bumping down the visuals, you know, maybe sitting a little bit further from the TV or something like that, you have like a really playable result, and it's just very interesting to me. If you can't afford a GPU right now, buy something like this and save up for a really good GPU, save up like $250, get yourself like a 3060, something like that, and you would just have such a good gaming system for like under $500 at the end of the day, like $400, something like that, and it would just be like on the same level as like a PlayStation 5 or something like that. So it's just very interesting to me how well these iGPUs can do. So I think really good result for this as well, very playable. Let's get to some esports games and see if you can play competitively with a system like this with your friends. Yeah, let's do that. Stick with me. Alright, getting into some Counter-Strike Go here. Now, unfortunately MSI Afterburner doesn't work on this, and that is way too small for you to see. So I'm just going to have to tell you what the FPS is. Right now it is 80. So I'm just going to keep an eye on it as I play, and we'll see how it does and what the FPS is for Counter-Strike. So this is running at maximum graphics, everything set to the fullest that it can be, running at 720p. So we'll see how it does. Right now it's at 80 still, which is pretty good. So yeah, it's gone to 90 now, 96, almost at 100 for these interior scenes. So yeah, just a really good result. It's a little bit... Oh, I forgot I was meant to kill anyone. It's a good result right now. It looks good. It plays well. 91 FPS. It's a little bit... It's not super smooth for some reason, but the FPS is really good. It's not the best. I don't know, the frame time feels a little bit low, but yeah, it's I don't know, it's doing well, I think. I wouldn't recommend sniping on a system like this because you're not going to get those flick shots, because it's just a little bit slow, but yeah, it's not bad. It's not too bad. I haven't played this in such a long time. Oh, there we go. So 77 FPS right now. So it's between like 75 to 100 FPS at maximum settings. So it is a fantastic result, very playable. You can definitely play Counter-Strike. Let's move on to the last test. Let's do it. Alright, for our last benchmark here, we are going to be looking at Rainbow Six Siege. This is running at 720p at medium settings, and yeah, again, it still manages to look pretty good. Running at 130, 140 frames for the most part, really impressive. Yeah, I mean, for esports, it just seems like a PC like this is, you know, really good enough. If you don't have the budget for a graphics card and you just want to play like Counter-Strike, Rainbow Six, maybe even Fortnite, this is more than playable. It's really smooth. The frame time is really low. The FPS is pretty high. It's like around 100, and yeah, it still manages to look pretty good. It's running at medium right now, and with a result like this, I reckon you can run this and Counter-Strike at HD on medium settings or high settings and still get a really playable result. Yeah, I'm very impressed. The CPU is still around 60 degrees, using around 7 gigs RAM, 2 gigs VRAM. It's just a fantastic result. So yeah, let's talk about it. 122 average, that's amazing. Let's talk about it. So, I just finished benchmarking, as you saw, and I'm speechless. It's just such a good result. I never expected something that cost $120 plus a $25 to $30 stick of RAM, so let's say $150, to perform like this. I didn't think it was possible. In where I stay, that's around 2,500 Rand. You couldn't even get an office PC for that. So I'm really impressed. I think the result is really good, especially if you want to play esports games like Counter-Strike and CSGO. I mean, and Rainbow Six Siege. It's really doable. So I'm very impressed. If you want to buy a PC and you don't have a lot of money, maybe you want to play something with your friends, you can buy something like this. And secondhand, it's not going to be expensive, like I said, and you can play on it. You can save up for a GPU. and then you can join your buddies. I'm sure this could even play Call of Duty at low settings. So yeah, very playable. If you want to get into gaming, you don't have a lot of money, do something like this, see if it's for you. And you know, it's a lot cheaper than what consoles are. It's a lot cheaper than gaming PCs that have graphics cards, and eventually you can upgrade, make this a proper PC, which I will be doing in the next video. I'm going to add more parts to this. The RAM is going to stay in, so it's going to keep the 16 gigs of RAM. I'm going to add a new power supply, a new chassis, a hard drive. It already has the SSD. Going to add a GPU, and we'll do like a sub $300 build, something like that. See how well we do. But for now, as a sub $150 build, this is amazing. I'm really impressed. And will it game? Yes, it will. So yeah, really good results. Stick with me for the next couple of videos. I'm going to be making more content in the next few weeks. Hopefully you enjoyed the video, hopefully you enjoyed the content. I'm really happy to be doing this kind of stuff. I want to keep doing it. It's just a matter of money. I have to buy these things to show them off. So yeah, I really enjoyed this one. Hopefully you did too, and I will hopefully see you in the next one. Cheers.